Welcome to another episode of Voices of AIS. Today we're joined by someone who has had a truly unique journey. We welcome Mrs. Archana Manohar. She has grown up experiencing different cultures around the world, even though her roots are Indian. Along the way, she has been an IB student, an IB teacher, also a digital designer, a baker, and also a book designer. She's also a mother who actively involved in every community she's a part of. Welcome to the podcast, Auntie.
Thank you, Nick.
Was there like a moment where you felt, okay, this place feels like home in your life?
I think the definition of home for me, Nick, is quite hard to explain, right? So if anyone asks me, where are you from? That's another tough one for me to answer, right? So though I'm born Indian, I was raised in Indonesia, in Singapore, the US, and then all my schools were international schools, right? So my teachers, I'd have like a South African teacher. My classmate would be from Somalia and from Bulgaria and all these different places. So life felt like the United Nations. I'd walk into my classroom. My science teacher was Australian, all right? Then the person sitting next to me, my biology dissection partner, was Chinese. And then I'd have someone from Norway. It was so mixed. Home, by definition, was never a place as much as just kind of places where all of us felt comfortable because we were around an international crowd. That's where I feel at home. So if I'm somewhere with a mixed group, Nick, I'm the happiest.
So you learned a lot about like different cultures by meeting different people?
A lot. So I think we were immersed in it, right? So what happened was you just kind of learn from one another. You accept all the differences between yourselves. You don't see it as a difference as much as that's what's special to you. So how you do something at your house could be different from how I do it, right? But we wouldn't see that as, oh, that's weird or that's strange. We're much more open-minded about it. So I think I just got so used to that. That's just how I grew up.
Like how being an IB is, right?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like running through the bloodstream.
Do you feel more connected with one certain culture that you've seen in your life? Or do you feel like you carry a mix of cultures with you?
If I had to pinpoint one, right, in particular, I think one common theme that stuck well with me, I really like discipline, okay? I really work well with structure. So obviously, I think Singapore would scream out loud with all its fines and the way it functions, right? I think Singapore is much more where I kind of feel at home. So even when I arrive at Changi Airport, if anything, that's when I immediately feel like so much ease because I know everything will be on time and things work the way I like it, so yeah.
How do you think that growing up across different cultures has changed the way you've seen new things or new cultures, Auntie?
You know, Nick, I think how it works for me, right? If I was to walk into your classroom, I wouldn't look at any one of you as different. I actually just see people as human. I know that sounds a little corny, but the truth is I really see people just as who they are. So I don't really tack on labels like, oh, he's Indian or he's this. I just see people as they are, for who they are, and they're kind of like their value system. That's what I prefer.
So Auntie, you've actually designed your own recipe journal. That's quite creative. We also learn a bit about design in IB. So could you tell us a little of what went behind it or like why you decided to do it?
Technically, when it comes to design, I self-taught myself design, all right? So back in the 2000s, I didn't take any design classes. I just was passionate about digital design because it was new then. I know for all of you, it's like everyone's born with an iPad and an Apple Pencil, but for us, it was different. I was very passionate about it, so I used to explore that, and it was kind of a hobby that I did. And then COVID happened. During that time, I was sketching a lot, and then this recipe journal idea just kind of came up because I was cooking a lot as well, because remember, everyone was stuck inside, and I think moms or even dads had no choice but to cook for everyone. We had to, right? So this cooking was going on. My digital kind of journaling was happening at the same time. So it just kind of, I called it like my third baby during COVID. So I created the recipe journal because I kind of tied in my passion for design and my passion for cooking. And it just kind of came together in a way.
So you're like, you worked on it like a hobby.
It started off like a hobby. It started off with pictures of food that I'd kind of designed. And then suddenly I kind of tapped into the idea that why not? I've been cooking so much. Where do I save these recipes, right? Then I actually looked and found in the market, there were journals. There are a lot of recipe journals, okay? And they're mostly notebooks. They feel very like you could just fill it in and probably lose it. So I wanted something that would be a keepsake and you could keep it for a lifetime. So Nick, if you took the journal and you wrote in it, I'd want you to be able to pass it on to your future kids, and it should be sturdy enough for that. So I kind of went into that niche and it really steamrolled. I just got into it and went ahead and made it, I guess. Yeah.
That's interesting, Auntie.
Yeah, thank you.
So in MYP design, we talk about having a need, planning, and then trying to make your product, Auntie. Did you follow any of these while you were doing your recipe journal?
Okay. When I was an IB student was a while back, right? So I think those traits stay within you. Okay, how you're raised in your school, it really does set you up for your college and onwards. So I would say the passion I have to be like a self-starter, to go and achieve the things I want to do, is a continued education that I've had. So yes, IB was like the launching pad. That is the part of it. But I think it's also my personality. I'm someone who chases things when I'm passionate about it.
Auntie, you lead Ignite, an after-school mentorship program that helps students in the NYP. So could you tell us more about it?
So initially, after the design venture of making the recipe journal, then I was busy again with my baking, and I did things on and off. I decided to venture into teaching because I thought, why not? I'm passionate about working with kids, and I wanted to make that into something that I could have a career out of. So I decided to try out to teach. So I got into teaching for about 1.5 years, really enjoyed it. And that's what spun about Ignite, because I needed to be home for my kids, and I realized the time that school takes is immense. So you should really value your teachers. They're out there putting every day an hour into their, their lives out there. So anyway, I'd stopped that and I carried it onwards to an online class. So what I do though is not necessarily tied with IB per se. It's the idea of how you as a student need to be in class. How do you communicate? How do you express yourself? That's a large part, right? Like when you come to school, at a school like Alphabet, are you mostly doing bookish work? Or are you expressing yourself? What do you think? It's a balance, right?
Yeah, I think it's a balance. Like learning and expressing ideas are equally effective.
Absolutely. And you need to know how to express your ideas, right? So I work with children primarily on the communication skills. How do you speak? How do you get your ideas in your mind? And how do you present it in an organized manner? That's mainly what I work on, communication.
So what are the skills an IB student need, Auntie, like in your opinion? And how does like Ignite help showcase that?
So what we do often, I have little cohorts of about 5 children, okay? So we'll pick up a really exciting topic, something that's current, something that's in the headlines, something that should be fascinating for you, because school is not just right here, it's outside of these 4 walls. You have to go in and get that interest to read more, watch more, right? So I introduce interesting topics to them, we discuss it together. So you kind of get the teamwork, you have to learn to share your ideas, work together. So we work on those soft skills that actually make you a better student in school.
Auntie, you've experienced the IB as a student, as a teacher, and also as the mother of 2 students. How do you think that IB is different from other schooling? Why did you choose IB?
So I think the key factor, right? So when I came here to India, I came in 2011, okay? So when Auntie first arrived then, I was a little bit in shock. Everything was different. I was still learning and finding my way through. So when school started, I have no clue about CBSE, ICSE, no knowledge of it, okay? I got into it only once I was here. I thought, is this the culturally right thing to do? I put my kids in different schools, was figuring it out. But somewhere deep inside of me, I knew that this type of learning, and by this I mean an open learning, a space where when you walk in, your teacher looks at you as an individual. You're not just one amidst a class of 30, 40 children, right? You get that attention, you get a chance to speak and be authentic. I felt that's really important, and that's inside the IB curriculum. I really value that because it's your individuality that's going to take you forward.
That happens a lot at Alphabet as well.
Yeah.
Is this one of the reasons that you've chosen IB for your children?
I would say so, yes, absolutely. And also, see, having done the IB, I know how intense it is. It's very intense, okay? And I don't know if any of you are fully prepared, but in MYP, it's still kind of cruising along. Get to those 2 years, it gets quite rigorous. And in order to get through it successfully, you need a very strong school with good faculty and very good admin, and especially a principal who can head all her students towards that direction. So you need that loving space at school as much as you need it at home to actually successfully complete your IB diploma. So I think there's probably no better school than Alphabet that offers that kind of a network and a nice feeling, right? When you come to school, don't you feel good about it?
I feel interested for learning, and also because all the teachers are like inclusive and like helpful. Not just like throwing the learning at.
And they know you by name. And I think that makes a big difference when you are in any institution, not only now, when you go for work and you grow up, when you have people who are your boss or anyone like that, but they know you and they know things about you, it makes a big difference because there's a connection. And I've always felt that at Alphabet. So.
If you could design any unit, like the creativity in real life, what do you think you would explore in that unit if you handle it, Auntie?
You know what I think would be fun when you tap into creativity is trying to find products and things that are, we always talk about what's needed in the market, right? So that's your base level entry. You find a need. But more than a need, how can you make that even more special, right? And I think that's what creativity is. A base level creativity is, oh, I realize we need this. The person who's actually going to succeed is someone who takes that point and finds something even more particular, even more unique. Those are the people that end up being the Elon Musks, and that's six out of the whole population of the world, right? So to want to get there, you have to really tap into like deep creativity. So I think I would take that kind of an angle on class.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You always adapt and learn to new roles. Is there anything that you've done recently that made you feel like a beginner?
Okay, so something I enjoy often, Nick, in general, is to feel like a beginner, because what that does is it kind of digs out that thirst to go learn, try something new, right? And it doesn't matter what age you are, you keep finding things. Of late, I would say it has to do more with Ignite, because that's my most recent experience. And after I've been working with children, I've realized that some of the older children, what they prefer is to be treated like an equal, like an adult. So I've been ideating things of meeting up with them at a coffee shop. So you get to feel like you're a bit of an adult, you get to enjoy the atmosphere, but also talk and ideate together. And I think things like that, I want to create a space where children can feel comfortable to talk to me like a mentor, but also feel like they are their own person, going out doing things. So trying to create a comfortable bubble.
So like a teacher, but like respecting like boundaries and also being trying to be cool and interactive.
It's about, I think, creating a partnership, Nick. So when you work with someone, right, it's not about me telling you what to do or me telling you how to go about things. I should be able to guide you towards what you want to do, right? So you should be open enough to tell me, Auntie, these are my goals, and I can try to help you achieve them by having a conversation with you. But you need to get there, right? So you need an adult who can kind of guide you in that direction and give you, I guess, a safe place for you to share your ideas so you don't get shot down, because often parents sometimes shoot down their own kids. Yeah.
Would you be interested in mentoring any like students from our school in mentoring design or digital art, because you're a pro at that?
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I mean, I taught myself everything from scratch. I would love to work with students who are passionate about what they want to do, because even with the recipe journal, you asked me earlier about MYP design, right? When I first came up with the idea, Nick, I was very particular about the quality, okay? I didn't want to give up on quality, and I said I want to make sure it's something that can go global. So when I first did it, I actually did this so you have prototypes, right, in design, like different versions of what you make. So I started off with a version like this, okay, with a spiral bound. This was printed in Chennai, in Royapeta. Good quality, but I still didn't feel like it was good enough. I wanted something more. And if you know, Uncle actually runs a printing press, okay, and being his partner, I technically could have printed my books with him, right? But he refused to do so, because he's like, you're so particular, I don't want to work with you. You need someone who live up to your level. So I actually took the book and I got it printed in Hong Kong, because I really wanted to make it what I wanted. So I feel like when you have a passion, you have to chase it, and don't let people kind of hold you back or tell you to settle down. I could have settled down for this. It was very easily available, but I had a vision and I wanted it to happen, right? So I think I can really help children push past hurdles, because we're all going to meet hurdles. Right, so it's a part of life. Even right now, I have it on Amazon, but Amazon has a bit of a situation. They've taken down the listing for a bit because they have to go rework on a few things. So there's always constant learning. Nothing is just golden, right? You have to keep working on it. So, yeah.
What inspired you to do this, Auntie? Was there a motive behind it, or was it just a passion that you felt you needed to share with the world?
Okay, so I've always found fireflies to be very fascinating, because if you're sitting out at a lawn or at night and you're looking up at the sky and then you suddenly see them, it feels like a sudden idea or a sudden illumination, kind of like a good sign from the universe. So I like the idea of if you could capture that beauty. So if fireflies were in a jar, they'd be all lit up, right? And it's just something beautiful about that, about capturing the light within you, I guess. So that was kind of the idea behind that.
Wow, that's an interesting backstory.
Okay.
And finally, Auntie, is there any one message that you'd like to give to IB students who are listening to this podcast?
I think the biggest takeaway, right, is that often there's a lot of pressure, especially in India. I've noticed that there's a lot of pressure for children to go be a doctor, go be an engineer. There's these big labels that everyone shoots for, right? And often someone who's looking for something a little bit different, something alternative, don't dim your light. Because with an education that IB gives you, it's such a launching pad to get into amazing colleges, and you should go chase your passion. You're lucky enough and privileged to have this education, so don't settle because everyone tells you to do something. Try to go and achieve the things you really want to do, and then you'll be successful. So I think that's what I would tell them.
Like, not to jump on the bandwagon, do your own thing.
Like, try to do your own thing because you've been given all the tools, right? And you're all very blessed and lucky to be able to utilize a school like this and a diploma that you get. So don't just do the bare minimum. Really shoot for the stars. Where you can, try to just go and do the maximum.
Thank you, Auntie, for spending your time with us today and sharing us your experiences. We really enjoyed listening to you today on your thoughts about creativity, learning, and parenting. It shows us about how learning is connected in real life. In IT, we talk a lot about culture and diversity, especially with the rapid speed of globalization. Listening to you today really showed us what being international mindedness has truly meant. Thank you so much for joining us, Auntie. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks so much, Nick. It was nice having a good conversation outside of, in your school, right? Because we always see each other outside. But I'm glad you got to get to know parts of me that maybe we wouldn't have discussed had it not been for the podcast. So thank you.